Lucky contestant. Thank you, everyone. We're going to do the E for E, 1 minute to wellness. So let's make this quick. Show of hands, who suffers from seasonal allergies in St. Louis? Yeah. So I'm going to teach you two different things today. The first thing is that you're in good company, and the second thing is how you can naturally help to either supplement what you do to prevent excessive allergy action or completely replace that. So there is a concept I'd like to cover really quickly. Our immune system has two jobs. First is surveillance, to watch out for foreign invaders, and the second is to initiate attack against anything that is a foreign invader. Allergies are a bit of confusion on the part of the immune system. And each year, allergy season runs a little bit earlier, it seems. There are different theories about this, but trees and grasses pollinate earlier now than they did historically. Carbon dioxide in the environment is one of those seasonal differences, and the other thing is temperature changes that are a little bit more erratic than they have been in the recent past. So, quickly, this is a mast cell. It releases something called histamine, but it does it by breaking apart into a bunch of little fragments like this. So you have a mast cell which is part of your immune system. When it identifies something called an antigen, pollen is identified by the immune system, the mast cell breaks apart, and these little particles then allow for the release of histamine. Well, that histamine has to bind in on something that's a receptor site. So I'm just going to put an H there. When the histamine binds to that, you get your symptoms. So oftentimes there are over-the-counter medications that are used to block histamine. And in that case, that entity comes in here and plugs up this histamine site that can no longer bind there, and your symptoms are gone. But what is the major side effect of over-the-counter allergy medications? Drowsiness, absolutely. If I told you there's a natural substance that exists in many fruits, vegetables, oak leaves, I mean, the list goes on and on, many botanical products that actually helps to stabilize this mast cell and prevent this process, which is known as fragmentation. So this process can actually be, you can strengthen the mast cell with a compound called quercetin. Quercetin can be taken in a supplemental form. It's spelled like this. And quercetin taken in a supplemental form stabilizes the mast cell and helps to prevent the process known as degranulation, which then releases the histamine. Okay? So as quercetin does stabilize the mast cell, the instantaneous relief that you can get from a histamine blocker is not part of what goes on here. So the single biggest challenge people have is introducing quercetin into their diet as if they were taking an antihistamine and saying, well, I tried it and it didn't work for me. The way to try this is to load up on it. Take between 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day for 10 days. Then, after that, this is known as a loading dose. Once your system is used to the presence of that quercetin, the mast cells are more used to that stability imparted by that quercetin, then you drop your dose. And you're safe to drop it down. It varies depending on body size, weight, and other factors, but you're safe then to drop down to around 300 milligrams per day for maintenance. And since we have an allergy season that starts in February and runs till December in St. Louis, I recommend loading up early. So think of this, before Easter, you want to be well loaded on quercetin, of course. So thank you. 1 minute to wellness.